Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. So, I am recording this episode the day before you guys see the end of Act 1. So, for one of the few times I'm actually talking to you in almost the present. Isn't that exciting? So, we're into Act 2 now. Things are going really wrong in the Literature Club, and it's going to keep going wrong in the Literature Club. Content warning in effect. As you can see, there's a problem there. Let's play. Hi again, Gaston. Glad to see you didn't run away on us. Ha ha ha. Nah, don't worry. This might be a little strange for me, but I at least keep my word. Well, I'm back at the Literature Club. I was the last to come in, so everyone else is already hanging out. That's normal. Thanks for keeping your promise, Gaston. I hope this isn't too overwhelming of a commitment for you. That you dive headfirst into literature when you're not accustomed to it. That's fine. Yeah, she always does that. Oh, come on, like he deserves any slack. You already had to be dragged here by Monica. I don't know if you plan to just come here and hang out or what. But if you don't take it seriously, then you won't see the end of it. Monica? I think you're supposed to be behind that. Atsk. Have a big mouth for someone who keeps her manga action room. Mama. Nasty finds herself stuck between, say, Monica and manga as I just punched my desk. Sorry about that. Manga is literature. Such Natsuki plops back into her seat. I'm sorry, Gaston. We'll make sure to put your comfort first, okay? Yuri shoots Natsuki with a disappointed glass. Bang! Anyway, now that you're in the club and all, perhaps you might have interest in picking up a book to read. Well, that's fine. That's totally fine. I can't really say no either way. Like you said, I'm in this club now. So it only feels right for me to do something like that, if you ask. Well, wait. I didn't mean it like that. Ooh. If you don't really want to, then forget I said anything, I guess. Ah. No, it's not that, Yuri. I want to try to be a part of this club. So even if I don't read often, I'd be happy to pick up a book if you wanted me to. Are you sure? I just felt like, well, as vice president and all, that I should help you get started on something you might like. Yuri reaches into her bag and pulls out a book. I didn't want you to feel left out, so I picked out a book that I thought you might enjoy. It's a short read, so it should keep your attention even if you don't usually read. And we could, discuss it, if you wanted. This is... How is this girl accidentally being so cute? She even picked out a book she thinks I'll like despite me not reading much. Yuri, thank you. I'll definitely read this. I enthusiastically take the book. Phew! Well, you can read it at your own pace. I look forward to hearing what you think. Now that everyone's settled in, I expected Monica to kick off some scheduled activities for the club. That's totally fine. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Yuri's face is already buried in a book. I can't help notice her intense expression like she was waiting for this chance. Meanwhile, Natsuki is rummaging around in the closet. I'm really curious to talk to Yuri a little bit more. But at the same time, I feel bad for distracting her from reading. Catch a glimpse of the cover of her book. It looks like the same book that she lent to me. More than that, she seems to be on the first few pages. Ah. Crap. I think she noticed me looking at her. She sneaks another glance at me and her eyes meet for a split second. ... That only makes her hide her face deeper in her book. Sorry. I was just spacing out. I muttered that Sensei made her uncomfortable. Oh. It's fine. If I was focused, I probably wouldn't have noticed in the first place. But I'm just rereading a bit of this, so... Yuri. You feeling alright there, Yuri? Your eyes kinda... It's on its way off your face. I wonder how far it'll go. Yeah, she does this all the time. It's totally fine. Dang, it's still going. You feeling alright? Look at it go! That's the book you gave me, right? I wanted to reread some of it. Ah, her eye's back. Not for any particular reason. Just curious, how come you have two copies of the same book? Ah. Well, when I stopped at the bookstore yesterday... that's not what I meant. I mean... I just happened to buy two of them. Ah, I see. There's something fairly obvious here that Yuri isn't telling me, but I decide to let it go. I'll definitely start reading it soon. I'm glad to hear. Once it starts to pick up, you might have a hard time putting it down. It's a very engaging and relatable story. Is that so? What's the story about, anyway? Well, I look at the cover of the book. The book is titled Portrait of Markov. There's an ominous-looking eye symbol on the front cover. Your eye good, Yuri? You feeling alright? Basically, it's about this religious camp that was turned into a human experiment prison. People trapped there have this trait that turns them into killing machines that lust for blood. That's not quite the same story, is it, folks? The facility gets even worse, and they start selectively breeding people by cutting off their limbs and affixing them to... Oh, that might be a little bit of a spoiler. But anyway, I'm really into it. The book, I mean. Not the thing about the limbs. That's kind of... It's kind of dark, isn't it? But it's far darker than the one she describes in the first act. Yuri made it sound like it was going to be a nice story, so that dark turn came from nowhere. Ah. Are you not a fan of that sort of thing, Gaston? No, it's not that. I mean, I can definitely enjoy those kinds of stories, so don't worry. I hope so. Yeah, I totally forgot that Yuri's into those things. She's so shy and reclusive on the outside, but her mind seems to be completely different. It's just that this kind of story. It's kind of challenges you to look at life from a strange new perspective, when horrible things happen, not just because someone wants to be evil, but because the world is full of horrible people and we're all worthless anyway. Then suddenly... I'm rambling, aren't I? Not again. I'm sorry. Hey, don't apologize. I haven't lost interest or anything. Well, I guess it's alright then. But I feel like I should let you know that I have this problem. When I let things like books and writing fill my thoughts. It's something about my whole body. I kind of forget to pay attention to other people. So I'm sorry if I end up saying something strange. Please stop me if I start talking too much. I really don't think you need to worry. It just means you're passionate about reading. The least I can do is listen. It's a literature club after all. Ah. Well, that's true. In fact, I might as well get started reading, right? Totally fine. Yes. I mean, you don't have to, but... What are you... Let me just get the book. Quick retrieve the book that I put into my bag. Alright, it's fine if I sit here, right? Slip in the seat next to Yuri's. Yeah. Are you sure? You seem a little apprehensive. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want you to. It's just something I'm not very used to. That is, reading in company with someone. I see. Well, just tell me if I had to distract you or anything. Alright. I open the book and start the prologue. I still understand what Yuri means about reading in company. It's as if I can feel her presence over my shoulder as I read. It's not a particularly bad thing. Maybe a little distracting, but the feeling is somewhat comforting. Yuri is in the corner of my eye. I realize that she's not actually looking at her own book. I glance over. Looks like she's reading from my book instead. Sorry! I was just bathing in probably the warmth of your body, I imagine. Yuri, you really apologize a lot, don't you? I do? Does history pick up on that? No. I don't really mean to. Sorry. I mean, here, this should work, right? I slam my desk shelves up against Yuri's and hold my book more between the two of them. I suppose so. Yuri timidly closes her own copy. Once we each lean in a little bit, our shoulders are almost touching. Feels like my left arm is in the way, so instead I use my right hand to hold the book open. I guess I just kind of feel to turn the page. Here. Yuri takes her left arm and holds the left side of the book between her thumb and forefinger. I do same with my right arm on the right side of the book. That way I turn a page, we know that part, but I'm holding it like this, huddle closer together, it's distracting. You don't know this yet. It's as if I can feel the warmth of Yuri's face and she's in the corner of my vision. Are you ready? To turn the page. Sorry. I think I got distracted for a second. I glance over Yuri's face again and our eyes meet. I don't know how I'll be able to keep up with her. That's okay. You're not as used to reading, right? I don't mind being patient if it takes you a bit longer. It's probably the least I can do, since you've been so patient with me. Yeah, thanks. We continue reading. Yuri no longer asks if I'm ready to turn the page. Instead, I just assume that she finishes the page for me and I turn it by my own volition. We continue the first chapter in silence. Even so, turning each page almost feels like an intimate exchange, my thumb gently letting go of the page, letting it flutter over to her side as she catches it on her own thumb. Hey Yuri, this might be a silly thought, but the main character kind of reminds me of you a little bit. Psycho Eye, hey! No, I don't relate to this character at all. Definitely not. Really? I was thinking the way she second guesses things she says and all that. Ah, that's what you were talking about. Sorry. I thought you meant something else about her. Something else. No, never mind. We didn't even get that far yet, so I don't know why that came into my head. Hahaha. Yuri, you feeling alright? Eh? Yuri has been a little fidgety ever since we started reading. You can rest if you're feeling sick or something. Your breathing is a little... My breathing? Yuri puts her hand on her chest as if to feel her heartbeat. I didn't even notice. Anyway, I'm fine. I just need some water. Alright, don't push yourself. Yuri stands up and apparently rushes out of the classroom. What on earth was that about? Gaston, yo. Something happened just now. Eh? I have no idea. Yuri's acting a little strange, I guess. So you don't know anything. Sorry, I can't say I do. Are you worried about her? Oh, no, not really. I was just making sure that you didn't do anything to her. No, nothing. Don't worry, I believe you, silly. Yuri just does this sometimes, so it's nothing alarming. Alright, if you say so. Anyway, why don't we start with sharing our poems with each other, eh? Shouldn't we wait for Yuri? Well, she might be a while, so I just figured we'd get started without her. Is that okay? Yeah, I was just asking. I stand up. I make a mental note of where I left on the book, so I'm banging into my bag. Well, let's show it to Natsuki. I told Natsuki I was interested in her poems yesterday. How far can I go? Well, skipping was a bad decision. I'll be right back. So, let's try this again. I told Natsuki I was interested in her poems yesterday. It's probably only fair if I shared mine with her first. Hi. Oh, and her eyes exploded. So we've seen this part. No, you haven't seen this. I'm sorry, I recorded a bunch of things out of order that you'll see later. My bad. So her eyes exploded. If you're not going to take this seriously, go home. What? Harsh. What? You expect me to believe they actually put effort into this? Do you think I'm stupid? I'm not a writer. Maybe it's not very good, but yeah, I did put effort in. We all start somewhere, right? If you're still proud of the first poem you ever wrote, then I'd like to read it. Huh. Painful to think about? Fine. Well, sorry. You'll get better anyway. I tell you what to improve, but you're better off just trying again. Fair enough. Well, to each their own, I guess. Anyway, I guess I gotta share mine now. Knowing you, you'll probably think it's stupid. I actually really like that one. Yeah. I told you that you weren't gonna like it. I like it. What? Just be honest, I am. Why are you so convinced that I wouldn't like it? Well, because everyone in high school thinks that writing has to be all sophisticated and stuff. So people don't even take my writing seriously. But isn't the point of poems for people to express themselves? Your writing style wouldn't make your message any less valid. Yes, exactly. I like when it's easy to read, but it hits you hard. Like in this poem. So I think we've seen that. Yeah, used to be a pro. Boom. 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 Yep. And let's show it to Monica. Hi, Gaston. Having a good time so far? Yeah. Good. Glad to hear it. By the way, since you're new and everything, if you ever have any suggestions, we've seen that. I'm always listening. Don't be afraid to bring things up, okay? Alright, I'll keep that in mind. Of course I'll be afraid to bring things up. I'm much better off just going with the flow until I'm more settled in. Anyway, want to share your poem with me? It's kind of embarrassing, but I guess I have to. Ha 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 ha. Don't worry, Gaston. We're all a little embarrassed today, you know? It's that sort of barrier that we'll all learn to get past soon. Yeah, that's true. And Monica, my poem. Great job, Gaston. I was going ooh in my head while reading it. It's really metaphorical. I'm not sure why, but I didn't expect you to go for something so deep. I guess I underestimated you. It's the easiest for me to keep everyone's expectations low. That way it always counts when I put in some effort. That's not very fair. Well, I guess it worked anyway. You know, Yuri likes this kind of writing, right? Writing that's full of imagery and symbolism. Sometimes I feel like Yuri's mind is just totally detached from reality. I don't mean that like it's a bad thing, though. Sometimes I get the impression that she's just totally given up on people. Spends so much time in her own head that it's probably a much more interesting place for her. That's why she gets so happy when you treat her with a lot of kindness. I don't think she's being indulged like that. She's really starved for social interaction, so don't blame her for coming on a little strongly. Like earlier. I think she gets too stimulated, she ends up withdrawing and looking for alone time. Suddenly the door opens. Yuri! I'm back. Did I miss anything? Not really. We all started sharing our poems with each other. Eh? Already? I'm sorry for being late. No need to apologize. We still have plenty of time, so I'm more glad that you took all the time you needed. Alright. Thanks, Monica. I suppose I should go get my poem now. Anyway, do you want to read my poem? Sure. Sound pretty confident for someone who doesn't claim to be good. I have to sound confident. We've seen that. Hole in the wall. Now, this is different. But he wasn't looking at me. So remember, the last one ended with, and he was looking out. But he wasn't looking at me. Confused, I frankly glance at my surroundings, but my burned eyes can no longer see color. Are there others in this room? Are they talking? Or are they simply poems on a flat sheet of paper? The sound of frantic scrawling playing tricks on my ears. The room begins to crinkle, closing in on me. The air I breathe dissipates before it reaches my lungs. I panic. There must be a way out. It's right there. He's right there. Swallowing my fears, I brandish my pen. So what do you think? It's very freeform. Yeah, so we've seen that. Well, I'm not sure if I know how to put it. I guess you could say that I had some kind of epiphany recently. It's been influencing my poems. An epiphany. Anyway, writing tip of the day. Fix it on a specific point. Tidy it up later. Yep. Advice for the day. Thanks for listening. And now we show it to Yuri. Ooh. As Yuri reads the poem, I notice her eyes lighten. Exceptional. Hey, what was that? Did I say that out loud? Covers her mouth. Begins to cover her whole face. Ooh, he's going to hate me. You really didn't do anything wrong, Yuri. Hey, that's... I guess you're right. What am I getting so nervous for? Yuri takes a breath. So, what kind of writing experience do you have? Your use of imagery and metaphors indicates you've written a lot of poetry before. Really? Wow, that's a huge compliment coming from you. This is actually my first time. Huh? Yuri stares at me blankly and looks at my poem again. Well, I know that. I just meant, Yuri chills off and able to find any cues. She traces her finger along the words of the poem as if breaking down more thoroughly. Yeah, okay. This is the reason I was able to tell. It's just that there are specific writing habits that are usually typical for new writers. Having been through that myself, I kind of learned to pick up on them. I think the most noticeable thing I recognize in new writers is that they try to make their style very deliberate. In other words, they tend to pick a writing style separate from the topic matter, and they form-fit the two together. The end result is that both the style and the expressiveness are weakened. Once Yuri finds a train of thought, it's as if her demeanor totally changes. Her stammering is completely gone, and she sounds like an expert. Of course, that's not something you can be blamed for. There are so many different skills and techniques that go into writing even a simple poem. Not just finding them and building them, but getting them to work together is probably the most challenging part. It might take you some time, but it all comes with practice and learning by example and trying new things. I also hope that everyone else in the club gives you valuable feedback. That's going to be a bit biased, though. Biased how? Well, never mind. I shouldn't be talking about people like that. Sorry. It's fine. I'm not sure if Yuri has apologized to herself, to me, or to Natsuki. Do you mind if I read your poem now? Please do. I'd love to share my thought process behind it. Yeah, this isn't gonna go horribly wrong. Yuri smiles dreamily, as if it's a rare opportunity for her, which itself is kind of funny. After all, isn't this supposed to be a literature club? So that's the same poem. I'm sorry I have such terrible handwriting. What? I wasn't thinking that at all. But it took you a long time to read. It really didn't. I just clicked through it. Well, I just don't read script very often. I actually think your handwriting is pretty. Eh? That's a relief. Also, I liked the poem. Even though it's short, it was really descriptive. It wasn't too short. I usually write longer poems. Not at all. I'm really glad you like it. I'll be honest, since it's our first time sharing, I wanted to write something a little more mild. Something easy to digest, I suppose. Are you into ghosts, Yuri? Hoo-hoo. Actually, this isn't about a ghost at all. Really. I must have totally missed the point. Well, I suppose you don't only glance over it after all. But remember that poets often express their own thoughts and feelings and experiences in their work. They usually do more than tell a simple story or paint a picture. In this case, perhaps the subject of the poem is only being symbolically compared to a ghost, lingering in her last remaining place of comfort, unable to let go of the past, and soon to be left with nothing. That's a lot more solemn putting it that way. I hadn't even thought of that. It's impressive, eh? It's nothing, really. Yours was impressive too, so nah. If anything, I could probably learn a thing or two from you. You think so? Yeah, of course. You know, I was really nervous about doing all this, but in the end I enjoyed it. I'm going to keep doing my best for you, Gaston. Me too. Phew. I guess that's everyone. I glanced around the room. That was a little more stressful than I anticipated. It's as if everyone is judging me for my mediocre writing abilities. Even if they're just being nice, there's no way my poems can stand up to theirs. That's off key, but it's totally fine. This is a literature club after all. I sigh. I guess that's what I ended up getting myself into. Across the room, Monica is writing something in her notebook. My eyes land on Yuri and Natsuki. They gingerly exchange sheets of paper, sharing their respective poems. As they read in tandem, I watch their expressions change. Natsuki's eyebrows furrow in frustration, meanwhile Yuri smiles sadly. What's with this language, eh? Did you say something? Oh, it's nothing. Natsuki dismissively returns the poems to the desk with one hand. I guess you could say it's fancy. Thanks. Yours is cute. Cute? Did you completely miss the symbolism or something? It's clearly about the feeling of giving up. How can that be cute? I know that. I just meant the language, I guess. I was trying to say something nice. Eh? You mean you have to try that hard to come up with something nice to say? Thanks, but it really didn't come out nice at all. Well, I do have a couple of suggestions. Humph. If I was looking for a suggestion, I would have asked someone who actually liked it, which people did, by the way. Monica liked it, and Gaston did too. So based on that, I'll gladly give some suggestions of my own. First of all, excuse me. I appreciate the offer, but I spent a long time establishing my writing style. I don't expect it to change anytime soon, unless of course I come across something particularly inspiring. Which I haven't yet. Gaston liked my poem too, you know. He even told me he was impressed by it. Natsuki slowly stands up. Oh. I didn't realize you were so invested in trying to impress our new member, Yuri. Eh? That's not what I... Oh. You're says, well, just watch how this plays out differently. Maybe it's just like Gaston appreciates my advice more than he appreciated yours. And how do you know that he didn't appreciate my advice more? Are you that full of yourself? No. If I was full of myself, I would deliberately go out and make everything I do overly cutesy. Ooh. Well, you know what? I was one of his booze. Yeah, we know that line. Natsuki. Natsuki, that's a little... This doesn't involve you. Taking out your own insecurities on others like that. It's totally fine. You really act as young as you look, Natsuki. Me, look who's talking, you wanna be edgy. Female dog? Edgy. Certainly my lifestyle's too much for someone of your mental age to comprehend. See? Just saying that proves my point. Most people learn to get over themselves after they graduate middle school, you know? If you want to prove anything, stop harassing others with a sickening attitude. You think you can counterbalance your toxic personality just by dressing and acting cute? All you keep out how hard you try. Everything's totally fine here. Be careful, you might cut yourself on that edge, Yuri. Oh my bad, you already do, don't you? Did you just accuse me of cutting myself? What the bleep is wrong with your head? Yeah, go on. Like it's not here everything you really think. I'm sure it'll be head over heels for you after this. Suddenly Yuri turns towards you and she's noticed I standing there. Gaston, she's just trying to make me look bad. That's not true. She started it. Everything's going up. Natsuki. Wrong. Nope. Wrong again. This is going great. Hi. How are you? I can't advance the screen. How's it going, Monica? Oh. Yeah, you're supposed to be behind all that, Monica. Hey, Gaston, why don't we step outside for a little bit? Okay? Sorry about that. They really shouldn't have tried to get you involved. It's probably better for us to stay out of this. We'll go back inside once they're done yelling. Ha ha ha. Some president I am, right? Can't even confront my own club members properly. I just wish I was able to be a little more assertive sometimes. But I never have it in me to put my foot down against others. You understand, right? Anyway, if this makes you want to spend less time with the others, then that's fine. I'd be happy to spend time with you instead. So Natsuki runs out of the classroom. She is crying. She quickly runs away. Oh dear. Well, it looks like they're done. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Yuri's rocking back and forth in her desk with her palms on her forehead. Yuri? Ah, you look rather spooked. I didn't mean it. I believe you. No idea what Yuri might have said to Natsuki. Or did. Gaston, please don't hate me. Please. I'm not like this. There's something wrong with me today. It's fine, Yuri. We know you didn't mean it. Besides, I'm sure Natsuki will forget all about it by tomorrow. Completely. Anyway, the meeting is over, so you can go home now if you want. Here, let's see, like she wants to say something. She keeps glancing at Monica. You can go first, Monica. I'd like to stay a little bit longer. I'm the president, so I should be the last one out. I'll wait for you to be done. Well, I'm vice president, so please let me take that responsibility today. Kind of decided you want me around for something, Yuri. It's not that. It's not that. I just didn't get much chance to discuss my book with Gaston. It would just be embarrassing with you listening. I guess I don't really have a choice, do I? I'm sorry for causing trouble. Everything's fine. So what happens? I wanna test something here. I'm gonna write a poem for Sayori. And see what happens, because she's not in this game. Not anymore, so let's see what happens. So lazy is one of Sayori's words. Well, that looks like fun. I have made a mistake. I think I'm seeing Yuri and Natsuki. I shouldn't have clicked that one. Let's find another Sayori word and everything is gonna be fine. Oh, this makes me feel comfortable. Yeah, so I know I've played it before, but I don't remember this. No, this is great. I'm sorry. I've been just picking all the servers because apparently get some form of reaction from the game, so that's nice. Oh, we'll pick Doki Doki because we have to pick Doki Doki. Well, I'm not going for one person in particular. Suicide is not one of Sayori's words, contrary to, you know, what you may think based on the end of Act 1. Fireflies is a Sayori word. So that's fine. Amazing is a Sayori word. Calm is a Sayori word too. Yeah, I hope the loud droning isn't harming anybody. I just want to do this correctly, although I don't know what I'm doing by picking all Sayori words when she's not even here to impress. I'm just wondering if it'll get an interesting response from the people. Ah, you moved away from the border. Hi. I don't remember this happening to me before. Everything is fine. Oh boy. Sayori is wonderful. I want Sayori back. Okay. All right. No, don't. just want to save. And it's only going to get worse from here, folks. So, yeah, brace yourselves. Because we're just getting going. I got any other pictures? I did. Select a corrupted word. Which I did do, so you know, that's fair. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Well, that's fine. We read that one. We saw that monster. I hate this. I can't do anything. Nothing. No matter how many times you play, it's all the same. It would be really, really easy to kill myself right now. But that would mean I don't get to talk to you anymore. All I want is for you to hate them. Why is that so hard? Yeah, okay, we saw that. Internal. Insecure. Yeah, we'll do a dive into this some other time. Okay, so anyway, thank you everybody so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed as we progress into scary territory here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And I'll see you in the next video. Until then, have fun in the literature club.